Welcome everybody to Cinema Royale. I am
It
Travis
doesn't say
Hopson,
recording.
and huh?
It doesn't say record. Oh, now it says recording. Okay, never
It's
mind.
been
Sorry.
saying well, you just messed up the whole thing. And you know what? I'm not going to start over. Welcome everybody. I am Travis Hopson. This is Cinema Royale. That interrupting guy, interrupter beat interruptee was Chris Bumbray from JoBo.com. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can tell this episode is the Deadpool and Wolverine episode. Just saw the film last night. Chris, you just saw it this morning. Uh,
Literally just saw it. Literally just saw it. I just got back.
Nice and fresh. My cat's in the background doing something stupid. Stop it. All right. And so we both got it fresh in our minds. This is probably the biggest movie of the year. You think it'll
Gonna
supplant
print money.
you think it'll supplant Twister this weekend? Or?
No, probably not.
Easy analysis.
Nah, close.
Easy
Close.
analysis there. Yes, Deadpool Wolverine will beat Twister this
I
weekend.
mean, I think it's gonna print money. It's gonna be the Marvel's biggest movie since No Way Home, that's for sure.
I agree. I agree. I think this is a movie that look, it's the only Marvel movie this year. People are super excited for it. It's a team up that everybody has wanted for a long time. I was trying to explain to a friend of mine last night like why there's so much excitement for this movie. Goes back a long way. It goes back a long way. Yeah, I started talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' first appearance as Deadpool. That's how far back it went. So
Feels
yeah,
like it was yesterday though, for 2008. I remember that. I remember that year very well.
that was a that was a bad. That was like the first. Was that before or after X-Men: The Last Stand?
That was after. That was 2 years after. X-Men: The Last Stand was summer 2006.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the a really bad stretch for.
Yeah, it was X-Men: The Last Stand was the first time I ever didn't have to pay to see an X-Men movie because I was working as a critic at that point. So it was the first time I got to see an X-Men movie without paying. In fact, the first movie I ever saw as a professional film critic was Blade 2
That's very
when I
that's
was
a
working for my
good
school
one.
newspaper. 10 a.m.
Good one.
I blew my mind. But I could see a movie a week before it opened at 10 a.m. I just thought that was crazy.
Well, as you hear us kind of gushing over Fox past, um, I'll just say for me, it felt like the people who made this movie also like to gush over the Fox movies because I am a diehard Fox superhero movie fan. I love the X-Men movies. You know, the X-Men are my team. And the movies that I believe that the Fox movies had a really, really good run of films. And it's easy to bash on them now.
Uneven, but good.
Right. It's easy to bash on them now because they were so bad at the end. And it's easy to make fun of like Fantastic Four and stuff like that, obvious failures. And I mean, the 2015 one is an obvious failure. I don't think the first two Fantastic Four movies with by Tim Story are necessarily failures. They're just
No,
from a different era, different generation. But these movies to me are like the ultimate love letter and kind of the welcome send off that I think Fox deserves. I really the fan service in this movie was like fan service directed towards me. Like I loved every single bit of it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who get certain enjoyment out of it. For me, it was all the Fox callbacks that really did it for me. And without going too deep into the story, Chris, what was your initial impressions from Deadpool and Wolverine having just come out of it?
well, I mean, it's the same thing as, I mean, as much as, the Fox movies I maybe didn't love, I am nostalgic for them, right? I mean, when I was, just getting into superhero movies, I remember the first one that I went to see. I remember seeing the first X-Men in the theater with my grandfather, and I was like 18 years old, and I don't know why I decided to take him out to a movie one night, and I was like, "Hey, let's go see X-Men," and he was like, "Okay," and then he was like, and he walked out, and he was like, oh, "I don't, was this the future of movies?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much," and it turned out it was. But I've always been nostalgic for those movies, and even when they were bad, I mean, the first two Fantastic Four movies, I mean, I enjoyed them when I saw them in theaters. I even enjoyed the first Daredevil. I didn't care for Elektra, but it was just, yeah, it's a simpler, more innocent time, and it reminds me of being younger, and it really did feel like kind of a love letter. I mean, Sean Levy, the thing that's interesting is because he was working for Fox back then, he does feel like the kind of director that probably would have done one of those movies,
Yeah.
and the fact that Simon Kinberg's involved as well. I mean, I think the thing about Levy, which really worked for me and I think works in this movie's favor, is that even though he's not a director I've ever really loved, he does have a sense of pace, and he knows how not to how to make a movie move. and not to have it be too roomy. Like he's kind of an old pro, and I think he did a good job delivering with this movie
I
in
think
that regard.
he makes. I mean, you go back to his earliest movies, Night at the Museum. He makes fun, easily enjoyable movies. Like
Yeah,
that don't stretch you too far. It's
no,
like the highest concept stuff he's done has been like Free Guy and like and like the
yeah.
Adam Project, which are fairly recent. And both with Ryan Reynolds. So
I mean, I like this more than both of those movies. I mean, it's actually my favorite Deadpool movie because the fact is I've never really been a huge fan of the character on the big screen. You know, I was one of the few critics that didn't really like the first Deadpool movie. Deadpool 2 I liked a little bit more. But this one was the best for me anyway, was the best Deadpool movie. You know, I had a
actually,
good time from beginning to end.
yeah.
Loved Jackman, loved Reynolds, loved all the cameos, loved all the Easter eggs. It was the only thing is for me, it's the same Marvel problem that you always have is that the villains suck. But otherwise, I really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of wrestling with it in my head about which one I like the best, but when I think about it, it's probably going to end up being this one as
Hmm.
my favorite. I mean, I like the first one fine, but the first one is you can tell it's made on kind of a shoestring.
Yeah, big time.
They don't really leave that street for most of the movie.
No,
It's fighting.
very man. Very the whole thing about the Fox movies too is that they always look like they were filmed on a back lot in Vancouver, because that was where they were shooting all their movies.
Right, right.
And the movies even got some of that look a little bit like where they are, like, and I kind of almost appreciated that.
Yeah, yeah. And the second one, the second one has a slightly bigger story. The first one kind of felt like they were just kind of happy to be there,
Yeah,
because in a way they kind of were. And the second one's a little bit bigger, but I don't necessarily care about the story in the second one at all. Like it's
yeah.
just like not in the least. And this one, I'll be honest, I think the story's crap for the most part. Like, I mean, a lot of it just
Well, there
doesn't
is
make
no story.
right.
It's
A
just an
lot of it does
excuse
not
to
make
get
any
them together.
sense. Doesn't make any sense, like at all, really.
It's just an excuse to get them together and to be
Yeah,
kind of
and it's
referential
fine.
about, I mean, the thing is, like I wrote in my review, Marvel fans of like the Fox movies have always been worried that, now that Fox and Marvel were together, those movies were going to be irrelevant or kind of consigned to the cinematic dust heap of history, and the movie's about that. It's about that whole world kind of coming to an end, and I think that worked for me. I mean, it's very thinly plotted, but I think that it was unavoidable, and I think it's a
Yeah,
ton of fun. It's just a
Matthew McFadden kind of looks like he's wondering how he got there.
well, he's
But
just doing what he did in Succession. Like he's just playing the same role. They're like, play Tom, and he's like, okay. Yeah,
play Tom, but in Marvel and talking
yeah.
about time stuff.
Marvel's Tom, and use your accent. And okay.
No, but I mean, but how do you feel about? I'm trying to think how to put this without spoiling anything. How do you think about the progression that Deadpool kind of goes through in this movie?
And
Now,
there is none. He's the
I think
same
I think
person when it ends
trailers
as he
I
was when
think
it started. There is none.
I think trailers. I mean, well, I mean, I don't know. I think the trailers kind of clue you into the fact that he's going through a crisis that's more than just my world's about to be destroyed. He seems to be like he's going through something.
I
How do you feel?
I must admit I kind of zoned out and all
Ah,
that stuff, and it was I'd seen it at CinemaCon and I was kind of like, okay, let's get this over with, set up the plot until we get to the good stuff. And it was kind of like that. But like it's about maybe 5% plot, 95% good stuff. So, it's
yeah.
easy to his
I
arc
I
I couldn't
see
care less about.
why they brought critics out and showed them the first 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Because the first 30 or 40 minutes of the movie is the best part of the movie. And that's not to say like the rest of the movie's bad. It's not at all. But the first 30, 40 minutes are some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Really, I thought for me it was the middle third is the best part.
Oh man, I love the beginning. I thought
Yeah.
opening is funny with all
The
the
opening was funny, yeah.
opening's
We
very,
can't,
very funny and
we can't
very
talk about it, though.
demented. What is my cat doing? You stop it. I know where you were now. My cat's being a pain in the butt. Anyway, the first movie is the first part of the movie is really twisted, and that's one of the reasons why I like it. And I think it does a really good job of establishing the tone. I think it kind of drags a bit in the middle, though,
Mhm.
honestly, as more characters are introduced. Some of them have already been spoiled in trailers and stuff. You're probably not going to be surprised by too much, when it comes to cameos, but there are a few
There
that you
are a few
definitely
that are
will.
there are a few that are like,
Including
whoa.
one that definitely popped you and I.
Yeah, there
Uh,
was one that we were like, whoa, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah,
How did this happen?
yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me really, really hope that there's a future for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But that was, yeah, I was kind of like, what the fuck? And it was
yeah.
everybody like,
And there's okay, the middle part got me because there's a really fantastic bait and switch
yeah.
that you can only do because you're talking about the Fox universe also.
And
So
also, yeah, that was great. That was really good. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it was just, pure fun, irreverent, but basically it's an Easter egg. It's the movie that they made. I wrote in my review, it's like when you go to see an old band in concert and they start playing their new stuff and you're like, play the hits. That's what they're doing. They're playing the hits in this one. It's everybody that's complained that Marvel was getting too heavy-handed in terms of messaging and stuff like that. There's no message in this movie whatsoever. It's that kind of movie. Like I think that it's anybody who's complained about Marvel in the last 10 years will enjoy this.
and it's unabashedly R-rated. Like it's a very
It's R-rated, but the
R-rated movie.
comedy dilutes the violence though. Like the violence is
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
very gory but very cartoonish. Like I think that
Yeah.
this movie it's kind of fine for children. Like I don't like, even more so than the other ones. Like there's a lot of foul mouth stuff, but it'll just go over their heads.
I think there's one death in particular that I don't think is okay for children to see, but
Eh.
it is a very gory movie in ways, but it is almost like a Looney Tunes movie at times
I mean, I
also.
was 9 and I was going to see like, well, I wasn't 9, but I was 10 and I was going to see like Hard Target in theaters.
Look,
Like, and it
I'm
was
I'm with you. I mean, I was a kid going to see Up the Academy and Revenge of the Nerds. So I mean, I get
really.
it. Hell yeah. So I mean, I get it. You and I are different.
I was 9 years old watching New Jack City and cheering for Wesley Snipes because he was Wesley Snipes. I didn't get he was the bad guy.
Right. Plus, he was by far the coolest person in the movie. No, no,
What?
no disrespect to Ice-T.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but it is very violent, very R-rated. So people who come into the movie looking for that would be very pleased.
Yo, yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think about the ending? Do you think it means we're going to be seeing more Wolverine? And in what
100%.
way?
100%. I would not be surprised if at Comic-Con they make some crazy announcement that's
We
gonna
should talk about that. Well, before we
blow
finish
us
up with
all away.
Wolverine, we should talk about that because you and I are both going to Comic-Con.
Mhm.
We'll both be in San Diego tomorrow in the nice 70-degree weather.
And it's perfectly timed to like capitalize on Deadpool and Wolverine. It's funny because they're having the panel on Thursday night, and my thinking is that they're just going to show people the movie after the panel. They're going to do something like that, and I because I think they want everybody to have seen it by the time that the panel comes around on Saturday, and I think they're gonna do what they did last time, where they're gonna reveal everything that's coming up, and I would imagine there might be something that has to do with this that'll be coming up because the numbers will start coming in and people are going to know like how much of a box office success it is. Wouldn't be surprised. It'll either be at Comic-Con or it'll be at D23, which is next month.
Yeah, and I think if they're going to do that, I think they'll do it this weekend as best as possible. But I think they'll do that on Saturday and
Yeah.
not at the Thursday night Deadpool Wolverine panel. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they show the movie to the people on that panel also.
I feel like they're for sure going to show people the movie because I bet they want people to see it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
But while we're talking about Marvel, though, what kind of announcements would you think they might make at Hall H this year in San Diego?
Maybe we're not getting a Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. Maybe he's fed up. Maybe he's done, or maybe he's going to come out and he's going to be like, now we're finally doing it.
I think that they've been snake bitten by that one time too many, and that
Yeah, it's something is
they
going to
won't make
happen with
that kind of
Blade.
an announcement. If they make any announcements about Blade at all, it's that it has a new director,
Yeah.
But I feel like unless that's a huge name, it doesn't really matter.
Get
So,
Mahershala Ali. He's directing it himself.
God,
Nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to do it.
has he ever directed a movie before?
No, I don't think so.
What if Wesley Snipes said, "I'm directing it"?
Yeah, I'll go see it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get any Blade announcements. I feel like Marvel's like they feel like they're not gonna they can't trust
They
that.
might, they might announce X-Men though. I don't think they'd announce the X-Men cast, but I think we'll see like they'll do something. The Fantastic Four will be there.
I have this weird feeling that I remember an old rumor from a few years ago that said they were gonna call it the mutants rather than X-Men.
Could be.
And
Could be.
yeah, and that phrase kind of got referenced by Feige recently in
Could be.
regards to the X-Men. It makes me
They're
think
gonna
maybe
do
they will.
something with the X-Men for sure.
Yeah, or maybe that'll be the name of the next phase, like the
Yeah.
mutant or
The
something
mutant,
like
maybe.
that.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
I wonder. They're going to say something about Kang, whether or not Kang is coming back and who's going to be playing Kang. Don't be surprised if like Chadwick Boseman walks out on stage or something like that.
I well, if Chadwick Boseman walked out on stage, I will be surprised. Considering where he's at.
Yeah, you don't think that he would? You don't think that he would
Chadwick
do?
Boseman?
Oh Jesus, not Chadwick Boseman. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah, they do a seance and he comes up on stage. Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo. Sorry. They have such eccentric names. Coleman Domingo. Yeah, Chadwick Boseman. Cut that out.
That'd be really fucked up if he came walking.
Chadwick Boseman. They do a seance and he comes back. His spirit comes back. Well, I mean, if they did that, they would bring him back for Black Panther, obviously. No, no, no.
There-
Coleman Domingo. Coleman
yeah, okay,
Domingo. Don't be
that's
surprised.
a better choice. That I could see
Nope.
that happening. I can
Don't be
see that
surprised if
happening.
Coleman Domingo comes out and he's like, I'm Kang, and people will be into it. Or they might just say, we're done with Kang. It's over.
I wouldn't be surprised if like the opening scene of like Loki season 3, somebody walks into like a back room somewhere and shoots him in the head, shoots Loki,
Then.
Kang in the head, and then like the character's over with or something.
Or imagine Jonathan Majors comes out and he's like, I'm back.
Like they pull like a triple X on him. Like remember they killed triple X in the post credits
Becomes
or
Ice Cube.
whatever.
Yeah. And then they're
I
both
wouldn't be
back. Let's see in
yeah
the third one.
yeah I wouldn't be surprised they did some shit like that with Kang. Like oh
Yeah.
shit,
Both back in the third one.
the Watchers evaporated him. He's just gone. Something. Yeah, I would expect to hear something about the X-Men at the very least. I think they're going to capitalize on this moment, especially with so little coming out this year, and everybody knowing that the X-Men are going to be part of Deadpool Wolverine, obviously, or at least mutants are, that they're going to want to capitalize on that and announce something for the X-Men.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jackman's not done though. Like I feel like there's a lot of like referential stuff in the movie about how he's gonna be doing it until he's in his 90s. And it's like I feel like that's not far off though. Like maybe.
I mean, almost every joke in here has like some kernel of truth to it. So
Yeah. Like I would be very surprised if he never plays the character again. Right? Like it's gonna happen at some maybe it'll be in another Deadpool movie, maybe it'll be in another 10 years. But I feel like he's the kind of guy that eventually will go back. I mean, why not though? That's the thing. Like he can do whatever he wants in between them, and then it's like, okay, you need a big paycheck, Wolverine.
Right. But then that brings up the problem of what you do with Wolverine between all of that. Because Wolverine's the type of character that you need to have him front and center if you're going to use him at all.
Well, I
So
mean, you could make him a leader type character, or they could recast him, or they could have multiple. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say.
I kind of feel like if you're going to recast him, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Now's the moment to do it. But then again, that I don't know. That leaves up some open questions too.
Who'd be a cool Wolverine? I was just thinking of Michael Shannon.
Oh,
Think about it.
I have because I've heard that wish list of him playing Wolverine before, and it does. I don't to me it doesn't make any sense. But then again, I don't know who make a good Wolverine. I didn't think Hugh Jackman would make a good Wolverine, and I
So
was wrong.
you get Doug Ray Scott.
Right, I remember yeah, Doug Ray Scott, and it's like, ugh.
Man, that poor guy though. Imagine he must fucking hate Mission Impossible 2 so much. Can you imagine? Could have been Wolverine. Bro, every time a fucking movie comes out, he's probably like, God damn it.
I know. Like probably missing out on a $30 million check every time a Wolverine movie comes
Yeah, for
out.
real. Like, how much money did he make for this movie? Or he probably got back end, so he's probably gonna make even more than that.
Jesus Christ, man. Oh man, this movie is really good, man. This movie is a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and I think the thing, and I've talked about this before. I know that the people in my life are going to love it,
Mhm.
Like I know they're gonna have a good time with this, and they're gonna want to go see it 2, 3, 4 times. They're
I
gonna,
mean, I think even people that aren't crazy about the MCU are going to really like it. I think it's going to be one of those movies. I was just talking to a guy who does videos for us, and he's like not a big Marvel guy, but he's going to see it. Like I feel like everybody's going to see this one. So it'll be massive. I think it's going to be a giant hit.
yeah, I agree. I mean, what's the next big movie after this?
I mean, there's nothing coming out for a while that's going to be even close to going into it. Like let's see if I'm on Joe Blow's handy main page. We do have a like I mean Borderlands is not going to do well.
Borderlands is not gonna do well at all. I feel like that was
Yeah.
gonna be a real dud.
I mean, I think Trap might do okay, but it won't be like
Yeah,
it won't. Now, there's nothing coming out besides Alien Romulus that could be big, and even Alien Romulus is not going to be a blockbuster. It'll do relatively well, and then The Crow. Like, there's actually nothing coming out until Beetlejuice on September 6th that I really think will make a lot of money.
yeah, yeah. I'm still very
So
curious to see how that performs.
yeah, so it's got like a wide berth.
Cool. Well, you don't think Transformers One will
I
be?
think Transformers One's going to do very well, but that comes out later.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think Transformers One's going to be huge. Like not massive, but I think it's going to be at least like a Ninja Turtles style hit.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm salty about that movie still,
I
but
know you are. Well, maybe you'll change your mind. We'll see some footage on Thursday, and maybe you'll change your mind.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I asked my publicist, is like, are they showing the movie anywhere out there? Because
No,
I feel
they're
like
not showing.
they're not, but I felt like that it seems like the kind of movie that they should
Maybe.
be showing it. They just show the damn thing, you know, get over with. Hey,
Did they ever do that at Comic-Con? Just show the whole movie?
yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. I remember one of the first years I went there. This was like in the first few years of the MCU. They had special screenings of Item 47, which was the one of the first Marvel one shots, if not the first Marvel one shot after the Avengers.
Yeah, but that wasn't long though. It wasn't a full movie.
No, but it was a special screening like across town.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, they might do that. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see.
I raced over there just to get in for it. So it was cool. It was super cool. But yeah, you occasionally show full movies there. All right, man. So Deadpool and Wolverine, you and I both big thumbs up for this one. I can't wait to see it again. I know all my friends have already got their tickets, and I'll be getting mine too. I can't wait to see it on the biggest screen possible. It's
You're
gonna
gonna
be
get back after Comic-Con, you're gonna go?
after Comic-Con, of course. After Comic-Con, of course. Unless they show it at the panel for Deadpool and Wolverine, which I don't even know if I'm gonna stay for that or not. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, this has been Chris Bumbray of JoeBlow.com. I am Travis Hopson of Punch Drunk Critics. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. And if you're in DC area, all sorts of other places, including Joe Blow every now and then, where I do some voice stuff. But anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Go and check out Deadpool and Wolverine. It's opening this Thursday, I believe. So
Pretty
enjoy.
soon.
Oh, yeah. Talk to you guys later. See you next week. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.